Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. All right, everybody. I'm back. Good to be back. So I want to go ahead and get to some late breaking news involving a topic that we always discuss quite a bit here on the Aaron Torres Pod and Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel in December, and that is the college football transfer portal. Listen, portal's been open for a while now. Even before that, portal wasn't open, but players were entering. But obviously, look, a lot of teams, a lot of schools have made their early moves in the portal. But there has been one school that we have all been waiting to see what is the first big move. That is the Colorado Buffaloes, baby. That's right. Colorado so far had been pretty quiet in the portal, but with pretty good reason. The whole team, the whole staff, certainly Coach Prime, certainly Shedeur Sanders, they were all in New York last weekend for the Heisman Trophy ceremony as Travis Hunter takes home the Heisman Trophy. Very much deserved. But I bring it up because it's hard to host recruits on campus when everybody's in New York celebrating your school's second Heisman Trophy, certainly the first under Coach Prime. Well, I bring it up. We've been waiting to see what is the first big move for Colorado, for Deion Sanders, for Coach Prime in the portal. Well, just moments ago, you saw it, you heard it, and we need to react to it as Jeheim Otis, defensive lineman, a monster, former fringe 5-star, high 4-star, low 5-star, whatever, played 3 years at Alabama. He commits to the Colorado Buffaloes. That's right, baby. You know what time it is. You already know what time it is. It is prime time. It is prime time. By the way, you want to support the show? Get those primetime tees at aarontorresonline.com/merchandise. A great gift for any Colorado fan in your life. By the way, a reminder, we do have our Torres on CU Twitter page for all your late-breaking Colorado news. This is certainly late-breaking, so let's go ahead and discuss Jeheim Otis. First of all, just a monster. Okay, listen, I forget if I just said it, but I don't think it's hyperbole to say maybe the biggest, not literally, but figuratively, the biggest portal commitments that Coach Prime has gotten since Shedeur and Travis Hunter and Shiloh and all those guys decided to follow him from Jackson State. Jeheim Otis, 6'5", 325 pounds, okay? So as I said, played 3 years at Alabama. First year as a true freshman, started 10 games for the Crimson Tide during the 2022 season, was an all-SEC freshman honoree, 29 tackles and 1 sack. Then last year, which was obviously Nick Saban's final year, was limited by injuries. But if you watched him, listen, we'll get to him in a second, but limited by injuries. Obviously, look, this year there were some issues with the new coaching staff. He decides to take the red shirt. But what stands out to me, watch him, 6'5", 300 plus pounds, okay? But what stands out to me, super active, very athletic for a guy his size. A run stuffer, gets his hands up, makes plays in the passing game from the perspective of batting down passes. Listen, we've all watched and loved and followed football. There are a lot of guys that are big and, 300 plus pounds that play football because they really don't know what else to do with themselves. That is not Jeheim Otis. He has a motor. He is athletic. He is tough. What does Coach Prime say? Smart, fast, tough, disciplined with character. I can't speak to all of it, but he is a smart, fast, tough, physical football player, and I think he will fit in very well at Colorado. Speaking of which, listen, you got to give Coach Prime credit because what I think stands out to me is kind of frankly how unsurprising this commitment is. This kid had been in the portal for a while, but as soon as kind of the portal cycle started up a few days ago, probably about a week, 10 days ago now, it was immediately a connection between Jeheim Otis and Colorado, and this thing got done pretty quickly. Credit to the kid, credit to the staff. The kid didn't take a million visits, didn't want to be wined and dined, didn't whatever. But Colorado identified him early, got him to campus early. You saw reports. He didn't want to take 5, 6, 7 visits, whatever. He wanted to make his decision, lock in his decision, and it ended up being Colorado. So credit to both sides. And listen, I'll say this. I think the kid is going to thrive next year under the coaching staff. I mean, I have to assume that things are largely going to stay intact as far as the defensive side of the football. Obviously, Damian Lewis, the defensive line coach, was phenomenal this year. Warren Sapp, who worked with him, Robert Livingston, I think he's going to get some NFL opportunities. But it doesn't change the fact that this Colorado defensive line this past season was nasty. Going into bowl season, 13th in America with 37 total sacks. Oh, by the way, on top of that, Colorado also one of the top teams in college football, top 20 nationally with 87 TFLs. So this was a team that had big dudes up front who were making plays in the backfield. And I believe that Jeheim Otis will be next. So Colorado gets their first big commitment. Let me say this. I think what this thing proves to me, by the way, as I said, make sure you're following our Torres on CU account on Twitter, Torres on CU. But what stands out to me about this commitment is the fact how unsurprising it is and how I believe that now Colorado and Coach Prime, they are a factor. They are in consideration for pretty much any recruit they want in the portal, okay? And what I will say, as somebody who follows this very closely, it's been very cool to see the evolution, and it has been very cool to see how things have changed and evolved under Coach Prime. By the way, this is unrelated to the portal, but I was thinking, Rick George, the Colorado AD, he's got to be walking around with an extra pep in his step, because think about the fact he hires Coach Prime 2 years ago. He was basically, remember, he was essentially the only guy that really pursued him. I think Cincinnati late in the process tried to get involved, but it doesn't change the fact Coach Prime comes, you go from 1-11, worst team in the Power 5, now the Power 4, to 9 wins, and you have a Heisman Trophy winner. Forget all the branding, all the everything. I mean, Coach Prime is so above and beyond what anyone could have realistically expected, and I'm one of those guys that believed in him from the beginning. The stat I always threw out, he was 23-3 over his last 2 years at Jackson State. You can't deny that man knows how to coach football, but I think this guy has delivered so much more than anyone could have expected. And now I think we're just now, as crazy as it sounds, coming off a 9-win year, coming off a Heisman campaign, we are just now seeing the true Prime effect in Boulder, because now they're going to be able to get anybody they want out of the portal. And to get back to what I was saying a minute ago, the evolution has been so cool to watch. I think year one was Coach Prime, I'm bringing my luggage, and it's Louis, right? It was just, we got to get the old guys out. They're not good enough, and we got to get our guys in. And I think year one was a lot about taking bodies, taking developmental guys that really play. A lot of the guys that they took in year one maybe weren't great in year one, but played their way into stardom this year. Amari McNeil along the defensive line, he came in year one. Levante Bentley, the linebacker, came in year one. And obviously, I'm not talking about a Shador, a Travis, guys that were stars that first year. But then last year, what really stood out to me was I thought they were a little bit more selective. But the one thing I'll say, were there many schools that had a higher hit rate on their guys that they got out of the portal this past cycle in the winter of 2023 into 2024 and the spring of 2024 than Colorado? I mean, just think about some of the names that they brought in this past offseason and the impact that they had on the Colorado Buffaloes this year, okay? Think about Colorado this season. LeJonte Wester comes in. I think that is that's a second, third round pick in the wide receiver room. 70 catches, 880 yards, 10 touchdowns for LeJonte Wester at wide receiver. Will Shepard, 47 catches, 6 touchdowns, 617 yards at the wide receiver position. We're specifically talking about, by the way, guys that came in through the portal. BJ Green from Arizona State, 12 TFLs over the course of the season, also had 7.5 sacks, was as disruptive as any player on the defensive side of the football for Colorado. Keaton Wade, by the way, 7.5 sacks, 7.5 TFLs, 4 sacks for that team. DJ McKinney came in the last portal cycle, 2 interceptions this year. Colton Hood was a star. And so that's what really stands out to me about this Colorado team and this Colorado process, is the fact that in previous years, year one, just getting bodies into the program. Year two was about being selective. And now year three, I think they are going to be a factor for just about anybody. That starts with Jeheim Otis, who just committed. Congrats, Colorado fans. You all got yourself a good one. And trust me, there are plenty more to come. If you enjoyed this video, do me a quick favor. Make sure that you are subscribed to the Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. New clips, new videos going up every single day. Follow our Torres on CU Twitter page, Torres on CU. And then, as I mentioned, you want to support the show. You want to do what's right. You want a great last-minute Christmas gift. Go ahead, get your primetime tee, baby. Your primetime tee. We got in stock pretty much every size. You want to support the show, we would appreciate you. Appreciate you. We'll be back, and we'll be talking Portal all December long.